responding to the question, how might adopting a practice of seeing God as the main character impact the way you read biblical narrative? What might you do differently from what you have done before? Give a specific example. So, I think that when you read like the Bible, just generally, you kind of read for understanding, and you might be looking for other characters, and you might be seeing their stories being pursued, and when you look through the eyes of those other people and characters, they might make mistakes, and they're imperfect, and they're not always listening to the Word of God. But when you shift your perspective and you think more about how God is impacting and working through them in their lives, then you begin to see that, you begin to see the impact that God really has on us if we do the best we can and choose to listen to Him. And I think that usually when you're seeing the other characters struggle and be imperfect, it's hard to connect with them and see and really understand what you're trying to get out of reading the Bible. But when you change the perspective and see it through God and see how, and really search for God in each character, seeing when someone makes a mistake or when someone does something wrong, but then seeing the outcome of how God can change them and how their lives are better when they're listening and following God's words and faith. And if you put yourself in, and then you can put yourself in the characters' places and see how God is working through your life and how you can relate to some of the other people told in the stories of the Bible, and you can see how God can change you and how important it is to just continue to grow in your faith with Him and listen and learn to love Him, and not really learn to love Him, but grow your love for Him. And that's basically it. I would just say that shifting the perspective is really important, and I guess what I would do differently to improve upon this is, instead of just reading for understanding and kind of summarizing in my head and going over what happens in different stories of the Bible, I will start to ask myself leading questions. For example, when a character does something wrong or a character learns from something from God, I'll try to ask myself how is God working His way into this person's life? How is God creating this person to be who they are at this moment and point of the story? And that's basically it.